The note landed on the table without a sound, light as paper but heavy enough to change the course of a life. She's not who you think. For a fraction of a second, Ethan Blake's eyes lingered on the folded square beside his water glass, then lifted calmly back to the woman seated across from him, smiling like perfection had been rehearsed in a mirror. The restaurant glowed in amber light, piano notes drifting through the air, soft enough to feel expensive. It was the kind of place where first impressions mattered, where people came to be seen, to impress, to negotiate futures over wine glasses and polite laughter. Ethan had built an empire reading rooms like this. At 35, he was one of the youngest CEOs in the state, known for restraint, discipline, and an almost unsettling ability to see through people without ever letting them see through him. He disliked blind dates. He disliked surprises. But tonight, against his better judgment, he had agreed. A favor to a friend. A polite concession to a life that existed outside boardrooms and balance sheets. Sabrina sat across from him in a red dress that seemed designed to command attention. Every detail was flawless. The smile, the posture, the timing of her laughter. She spoke about his company with uncanny accuracy, quoted headlines, praised his leadership like she'd memorized a press kit. It should have impressed him. Instead, it unsettled him. Everything about her felt curated. And now there was the note. Ethan didn't react. He didn't reach for it. He didn't ask questions. He simply listened as Sabrina continued speaking, nodding at the right moments, offering polite responses while his instincts sharpened. He noticed the way she glanced at her phone when she thought he wasn't looking. The subtle tapping beneath the table. The way she deflected certain questions with charm instead of substance. Across the room, behind the counter, a young waitress pretended to wipe down a tray. Emily Hart had not planned to interfere in anyone's life that night. She rarely did. Life had taught her to keep her head down, do her job, and move on. But earlier, before Ethan arrived, she had seen Sabrina seated in the same booth with a man in a black blazer. Not affectionate. Strategic. Their voices low, words sharp. She hadn't meant to listen, but some conversations carried weight whether you wanted them to or not. Charm him. Get close. Find out what he knows. Emily had carried that knowledge like a stone in her chest until Sabrina excused herself to the restroom. Then she'd acted, quietly, carefully, knowing full well that speaking up could cost her more than a tip. When Sabrina returned, the evening continued. No confrontation. No drama. Just observation. Ethan's phone vibrated once. A video. Grainy security footage from earlier that evening. Sabrina. The same booth. The same man. Their body language said everything words didn't need to. Confirmation. Dinner ended politely. Ethan paid the bill, rose, and adjusted his jacket with the same calm precision he brought to million-dollar decisions. Thank you, he said, meeting Sabrina's eyes fully for the first time. But we won't be seeing each other again. No accusation. No explanation. Her smile faltered for half a second. Long enough to know the game was over. She left without a word. Ethan didn't look back at the table. He didn't mention the note. He didn't draw attention to the waitress who had risked her job to protect a stranger. Instead, he approached the counter. Emily kept her eyes down, heart racing. Have you had your coffee tonight? He asked gently. That was all. No power. No pressure. Just gratitude offered in the simplest form. That coffee changed everything. Rain tapped softly against the cafe windows the next afternoon as Ethan sat across from Emily, her uniform replaced by a simple sweater and jeans. She spoke quietly about her life, about her mother's illness, about double shifts and grocery store aisles and learning to survive without expecting miracles. Ethan listened, really listened, and something in him stirred. Something old, something human. Days later, on a grey Monday morning, fate tested that connection. An elderly woman fell on a quiet street near a park. Traffic passed. People looked away. Ethan didn't. He stopped. He lifted her carefully. He drove her to the hospital. In the waiting room, Emily sat trembling, tears streaking her face. Their eyes met. Shock. Relief. Gratitude. Her mother. He had saved her mother. Ethan offered no grand gesture. Just a card. Just presence. Just kindness. And from that moment on, their lives quietly intertwined. He learned about her sacrifices, her volunteer work, The way she gave without expecting return. He watched her stand in the rain sharing an umbrella with a stranger while her own shoes fell apart beneath her feet. And for the first time since losing his sister, Ethan felt something warm and painful and hopeful all at once. He offered her a job, not out of charity, but respect. Emily stepped into a world she'd never imagined for herself, and she didn't just survive, she transformed it. She brought humanity into polished halls of marble and glass. She reminded people why purpose mattered more than profit. She saved a child without hesitation. She stole Ethan's breath with her courage. And one evening, beneath lantern light in a quiet garden, with fireflies flickering like tiny promises, Ethan took her hand and admitted the truth he'd been avoiding. Kindness wasn't weakness. It was strength he'd been missing all along.